A lot of people will say that Jevon smoked Ricochet in this Twitter exchange, that he also cooked Tony Khan as well. I mean, I will say Jevon tried to smoke Ricochet and Tony Khan, but at what cost? At the cost of that AEW money in the future in case you get released and let go by the WWE. You get called up to the main roster within a couple years, and then year one of you being on Raw or SmackDown, you're getting buried. You're getting pretty much Giovanni Da Vinci'd. And you get released and let go, and then you're not heard from ever again. And then AEW is not going to look your way because you called Tony Khan, the boss of AEW, a crackhead. And you also came at Ricochet. Now, see, I'm a fan, or I'm not going to say a fan, but like, I enjoy Jevon Evans' work in the ring. I think he's very talented. I think he does have upside. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Just because this guy main evented NXT Stand and Deliver, he had that match with Randy Orton. You know, I think he's using those two accomplishments and letting it get to his head. And if I'm Jevon Evans, I would definitely simmer my ego down. Like, chillax. You've been on NXT for a year. You haven't won any titles. You haven't really done anything that memorable. You know, Jevon is still green. He's still in his rookie season. He's got a lot to learn. And just because he had that match with Randy Orton and he had that main event at Stand and Deliver, I think he's letting it get to his head. I think he's starting to develop an ego problem. Like, everybody and their mama has been trained by Shawn Michaels. That's not an accomplishment. Ricochet was also mentored by Shawn Michaels. Swerve Strickland was also mentored by Shawn Michaels, and look what happened to him. Once he got to SmackDown, he was released within 3 weeks. Now, I want y'all to realize something here. You're going to realize a pattern of all Shawn Michaels guys coming to the main roster, and what's always a theme? The theme is that they become mid-carders or they become low tier and they're in catering and they're not doing anything. They're losing. They're jobbing out. You see that theme play out with all of Shawn Michaels guys, all his favorites. Most of his favorites have been let go already. Triple H has his favorites. Let's not forget about that. Just because Triple H has a different vision, a different way of booking these shows, and he has a different creative mind, maybe perhaps a better creative mind than Vince McMahon ever did. However, Triple H is still somewhat like his daddy-in-law. They're not too different. Shawn Michaels, on the other hand, you look at what NXT is. It's an entirely different show. It's a totally different presentation from what you see on Raw and SmackDown week to week. In NXT, these NXT guys, you know, the best they're going to get is NXT pay-per-views, PLEs. And some of those guys need more time down there in Orlando, Florida. Because I can tell you right now, a lot of those guys are not ready for the main roster. I can tell you that Trick Williams is a Shawn Michaels favorite, and Shawn Michaels do not plan on letting that man go anytime soon. He's preserving Trick Williams. That's why you see him in TNA now, feuding with Joe Hendry. You would think by now Trick would have been up the main roster after Stand and Deliver. Nope. Why do you think Roxanne Perez is still fucking around in NXT? Because Shawn Michaels is not ready to let her go. What do you think happened to Indy Hartwell when she got called up to the main roster? She was the NXT Women's Champion, got injured, and she was never heard from ever again once she got that call up. She was never relevant since. So you got to pay attention to how these guys are being booked and treated on the main roster under Triple H's watch. Do not be surprised when Jevon gets that call up and Triple H doesn't view him in the same light as a as how he once viewed Ricochet. I mean, if we're being honest, if Ricochet was still in the WWE, I think he would have been booked a lot better under Triple H than Jevon Evans would be. So I understand what Jevon was trying to say. I mean, I almost like I laughed a few times, but like then I kind of came to my senses and said to myself, you know what? I just realized Jevon fumbled a bag. He burned that bridge already with AEW. So everything that Jevon said in this tweet, it's going to be used against him once he gets released. There's no way TK would hire Jevon Evans. And there's no way that there's no way that Ricochet would want to work with Jevon Evans if they were to be in AEW. But I think Ricochet somewhat lured Jevon into a beef, an unnecessary beef on Twitter, in my opinion. And it allowed Jevon to show his immaturity and his lack of self-awareness. Because now he just burned that bridge with AEW before he even got let go. Now, Jevon better hope he does not get let go and futured endeavored. You see, my biggest fear with Jevon Evans is he winds up like Matt Riddle. I don't want to see him end up like Matt Riddle, letting your ego get to your head, letting your push get to your head, get all big headed, and you think you're the shit because of one big push. I mean, the same thing happened to Matt Riddle. He turned out to get released and let go. So hopefully Jevon, learns his lesson, but this man's very young and he has a lot to learn. I'm just going to say this. Every young prospect that's in NXT, please do yourself a favor and stay the hell off of social media going forward, unless it's to advertise your match or to sell a storyline that you're in with your colleague or someone. But other than that, get the fuck off of Twitter and just stay off.